baseball card collection. Norwich for 20 years, and he was my best friend. And I would give anything to have Bob Cleveland here today. And I'm sorry that he isn't. I miss him dearly. His son Craig is here. Thanks for being here, Craig. We miss him. We miss him a lot. Jessica Cohen, George Mack, Jan Strain, Steve Perrin, Charlie Crum, Linda Zazak, the Dream Team. Really, that's the A-Team, that's the Dream Team. Take those people anywhere to accomplish anything, and you'll be successful. The superintendents that are here, in addition to those people, George obviously was in Walton. Rob Burson is in Sherburne-Norville now. It wasn't when I was here, but Rob is here. Gordy Daniels. Thank you for Betty Briggs. Thank you for being here. Terry Doherty is here from Hancock. What superintendents am I missing? Kelly Zimmerman from Bob Mackey from Unadilla Valley. Kelly Zimmerman from Delhi. Thank you all for being here. The superintendents that we worked with were amazing. This Boces staff that you met today and the superintendents that we were fortunate enough to work with are amazing people. I have been consulting for the past 13 years. I failed miserably at retirement when I left here in 2008. And so I've continued consulting, and I probably have worked in 100 school districts. I probably have worked with 100 different superintendents. I would take this group of Boces people and this group of superintendents against any group that I have met any place across upstate New York. These are people who could have been leaders anywhere in the state, and yet they dedicated their careers to stay here in Delaware and Shenango and Madison and Otsego counties, and this is a better place because of them. Outstanding leaders who all deserve our thanks. This is a thrill. This is an amazing day. It was always a privilege and an honor for me to work at Dcmo Boces for 18 years. I was proud to work at Dcmo Boces. Walk in and look at our facilities, look at our programs, and most importantly, look at our people. And in 5 minutes, you'll know why I was proud to be able to work with these kinds of people. I enjoyed every day that I came to work here. It was never really like a job. I enjoyed every day, and often wonder why I was so lucky to be chosen to be the district superintendent here. I made a lot of mistakes along the way, but had the support of a great administrative team, understanding superintendents, and a board of education that said, you know, yeah, you goofed that one up, but keep going. I'll never forget the night that a board member named Carolyn Newbold made it very clear to me that I should not use the word slush when I was talking about the Boces budget. She made it very clear to me. And there were a number of those, but I was lucky enough to be working with people who were understanding and supportive. Before I came here, I had the opportunity to work with a couple of really outstanding district superintendents in the Syracuse area. One was named Irv Henry, and one was named Lee Peters. And when we would talk about the district superintendency, they both gave me the exact same advice. They said, you know, the job of the district superintendent is really to open the doors between the Boces and the component districts, and to keep those doors open so that the program people who really know what they're doing can do their jobs. Get out of the way and let the program people do their jobs. Keep the doors open. I hope that one of my greatest strengths was getting out of the way, because we had wonderful people here who were excellent at doing their jobs. This Boces was a really different place on July 1st, 1990, which, by the way, was the first day of the Gilbertsville-Mount Upton merger, July 1, 1990. It was a real different place. I came to work here for the first time and was greeted by people like Bob Harold, Elsie Rolfe, Charlie Crum, Joanne Wormuth, Steve Perrin, Joanne Windsor, Jan Strain, Diedrich Bertholoff, Sue Downey, and Ed Gomes. Superintendents that were here at the time like John Oates in Afton, Ed Ermlich in Bainbridge Guilford, Rick Zajac, a character, in Delhi, Perry Berkowitz in Sydney, Mary Canny in Sherburne-Noville. Quite a crew. But those people, those Boces people that were the rocks of this organization, and those superintendents were the people who laid the foundation for what I think were outstanding relationships that were formed between this Boces and component districts. And I think that's the difference between what made this Boces great and maybe some others were the relationships between the Boces and the 17 districts. At that time, 17, now 16. When school districts said, some of our kids just don't like school, it was the Boces staff in the alternative education program that said, send them to us. We'll provide a different type of school, and we will make them successful. And we did. When school districts said, some of our students are just not capable of learning, it was the Boces staff in the special education program that said, send them to us. We will teach them. They will learn. And we will give them skills so that they will be successful in life. And we did. When school districts said to us, some of our kids just aren't book smart, it was the Boces staff in the CTE program that said, send them to us. We will teach them a trade. We will teach them job skills, and we will prepare many of them to go on to college. And we did. When school districts said things in education are changing too fast for our staff to keep up, it was the staff and instructional support services that said, send us your staff. We will provide them skills training. We will provide them support. We'll build up your teachers and develop your leaders and keep them on the cutting edge. And we did. And when school districts said money is tight and we have to reinvent new ways to keep our schools afloat, it was the staff, the Boces staff and management services that said, we will work with you to develop innovative ways to share services, to stabilize staff, and to save money. And we did. As I think back on all those conversations, one really specific thing comes to mind, and it's a small example, but for me it has such meaning. When I was hired, Boces had a print shop, and it was located on that sheep barn. It's located at the top of this hill. That's where the print shop was, in that sheep barn. As I understand it, there once was a day, actually, where the sheep got loose. It actually held sheep, and the sheep got loose, and there was sheep poop all over that hillside. So it was indeed a real sheep barn, but that was the location of the print shop. The print shop was losing money. They were being subsidized by occupational education, which is what it was called in 1990. They were being subsidized by special education, and they were still losing money. And I got a call one day from a guy named Jim Williams. He was the assistant superintendent for business in Norwich and had a close working relationship with my buddy Bob Cleveland. So I knew Jim before I got here, and he said, you know, we spend $100,000 a year making copies for the Norwich schools. He said, if I move this copying over to Boces, the state will reimburse us 70 cents on every dollar. So he said, you know, if you can make the same number of copies at Boces for $100,000 that we can make in Norwich for $100,000, I'll get a $70,000 check from the state. He said, can you do that? I said, I have no idea if I can do that or not. So I came back and talked to Pam Hanno. That was, I think, Pam Perry at the time, up in the sheep farm. She said, give me 2 days. So 2 days she came back and said, we can do it. We can do a copying service. Kind of a little unheard of at the time, but we can do a copying service. Well, I said, Pam, this is big. We can't screw this up. If we're going to do this, this has got to work. Everybody is watching. And she did it. And her staff in the print shop did it. And everybody else supported it. And it worked. And other districts saw that it worked. And our print shop went from being located in the sheep barn to a huge shop in the Support Services Center, and has developed into one of the best print shops that Boces have across the state. And Pam made it happen with Norwich with our first $100,000. And now over $2 million a year they do in the print shop. But how it grew. But for me, that's an example of where we had a challenge. The person with the expertise said we can do it. She got it done, and people watched, and all of a sudden that started a relationship with the component districts that for me is just a milestone as I think back. And when we finished, I said, you know what? I think the districts now trust us, and I think we now have staff who trust the districts. And that simple little act led to things going crazy in the 90s. If you were around here in the 90s, my analogy is like it was a popcorn popper going off. There were things happening all over the place from that point on in the 90s. The Support Services Center was built. We've already mentioned the Health Insurance Consortium started. We started New Vision programs. The Alternative Ed program started. We trained teachers in reading recovery. We had a brand new model for training teachers and administrators. We had a new method of school improvement every summer the districts participated in called LINKS. We started the central business office. We got in trouble with the state education department for doing stuff we weren't supposed to be doing. That's another issue. But it was happening, and it was happening because of all the good people who worked here, because of the relationship that had been developed with the districts, and because of the trust that was in place and had been forged between the Boces and the districts. So let's think differently about today. This is an incredible honor, but this is not about me. It's about all of you. We're here today because of relationships that were formed and trust that was developed. You made it happen through, and that includes Boces staff and local district staff. You made it happen through your dedication, your creativity, and your energy, and the passion you had about your work. You, the Boces staff and the superintendents, are the reason that this Boces is now recognized across the state. You are the people who put this Boces on the map. That's figuratively. Literally, nobody has any idea where we are. Nobody could ever find us. We're on the map, but nobody knows where we are. But it's the Boces people and the superintendents, that group of people that I would take anywhere to take on any challenge. You were the people that made it happen. And this Boces owes you a huge debt of gratitude. So thank you again for this tremendous honor. I accept this very humbly, and I accept it on behalf of everyone who is here today. Everyone, thank you again for being here. Thank you for your very kind words. This is a day that I will never forget. Thank you very much. I just have to check one thing. When I introduced Steve, I did say, and his wife Colleen, right? Yes.
Nothing like being honored and then having a very quiet ride home.
I think as Patty Gallagher would say, crisis averted. Alan, congratulations. At this time, we will enter into the front doors here and take a left, go down the hall to the gym, and we will enjoy a nice dinner with the Poles and their family. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for spending this time with us. It's very special for this region. Thank you, Alan, again. Alan, I did make a mistake. You do have to come back up. So on the behalf of the Dcmo Boces team, we would like to present you with the New York State Seal for District Superintendents. Let's eat.